Hi class, I'm going to start today with a video just to go over another application problem for rational functions. So this one says a rectangular page is to contain 80 square inches of print. The margins at the top and bottom of the page are each 2 inches. The margins on each side are 0.5 inches. Find the dimensions of the page and the area so that the least amount of paper is used. All right, so I'm going to start by drawing a picture, and I'm going to start with a rectangle. And I want you to think of a page in a book. So it tells us that the area of the printed area, the 80 square inches represents the printed area. So if you think about a book, you've got the print in the middle here, and then you've got margins on the left, right, bottom, and top. So I'm actually going to call this W and this L, and that's going to represent the length and width of the printed area on the inside. So not the length and width of the entire page, just the printed area. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and label the margins. So it says that there are, the top and bottom have 2-inch margins. So you can picture 2 inches on the top and bottom, and then 1/2 inch on either side here. Okay, so that's inches. Okay, so there's my picture, okay? And again, I just want to reiterate that the L here represents the length of the printed area, and the W represents the width of the printed area. Okay, so it says for part A, write a formula for A of W, the total area of the sheet of paper in terms of its width W. All right, so let's think about the entire piece of paper. So this distance here is going to be, we've got this 1/2 inch on the left, and then we've got 1/2 inch on the right, and this is W here. So it's going to be W plus 1. And then if we think about the length of the entire piece of paper, okay, I've got 2 extra inches on the top, 2 extra inches on the bottom. So I'm going to put L plus 4. Okay, so I'm going to start with my given information. It says a rectangular page is to contain 80 square inches of print. So I know that L times W equals 80, okay? And that's based on how I labeled my picture. So the L and W just represents the printed area. So I want to write a formula for the area of the entire sheet of paper in terms of its width only. So I'm going to go ahead and solve this for L. Okay, so I'm going to divide by W. L is 80 over W. Okay, so I know that the area of a rectangle is length times width. Okay, so A of W. Okay, so the length of the entire piece of paper is L plus 4, but instead of writing L plus 4, I'm going to write 80 over W plus 4. So that's my length. And then I'm going to multiply it by the width of the entire piece of paper, which is W plus 1. Okay, so now I have the area of the entire sheet of paper written in terms of W. So now I'm going to go ahead and just write this in standard form. Okay, so I'm going to multiply this out. 80 over W times W. Now if we think about that, that's going to give us 80 over W times W. Think of that as W over 1 if you want. Okay, so those W's are going to cancel out. 80 over W times 1, so my next term is 80 over W. And then I have 4 times W is 4W, 4 times 1 is 4. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and simplify this by, I'm going to cross out these W's, and then that leaves me with just 80, which I can, add to the 4. So now I have A of W equals, I'm going to write 80 over 4 plus 4W plus 84. Okay, so this is my equation for the area of the sheet of paper in terms of its width. Okay, so now I'm going to go to my calculator and I'm going to type that equation in. So go to y equals, oh, I'm sorry, that was just supposed to say I just noticed I wrote 80 over 4. That should have said 80 over W, I'm sorry. All right, so 80 over W plus 4W plus 84. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and type that in. I'm going to use this division sign so that I can use my table to set my window if I need to. All right, so let's go ahead and hit graph and just see what we can find. All right, so my current window is not good. So I'm going to look at my table, and I'm going to see my values are going down, and then they start going up around x equals 6, and my y value is around 120. Okay, so I'm going to change my window. I'll go from 0 to 20, and then I think I'll make my y max let's start with maybe 200 and see if that's high enough. Okay, so that's good. So let's go ahead and find the minimum. So we can go ahead and kind of draw a picture to help us kind of interpret that minimum point. Okay, so we see this minimum going on right here. I'm going to hit second calc number 3, and then I'm going to move my cursor. My cursor's a little slow to move, so pick a point on the left. Pick a point on the right, and then pick a point somewhere in between. All right, so I like to just label this first. I'm going to go with 2 decimal places if it doesn't specify. So 4.47, comma 119.78. And then again, I want to think about what this information gives me. So this point, the x value is W, the y value is A. Okay, and so determine the dimensions of the page so that the least amount of paper is used. Okay, so think about your page. The dimensions of the page are W plus 1 and L plus 4. Okay, so we want the width of the page is going to be not 4.47, but 5.47. Okay, and that's going to be inches. And then for the length of the page, we have to find the L, and then we have to add, whoops, oh my gosh. All right, so we have to find the length. So the length is 80 over W. Let me grab my calculator again. Okay, and the other confusing thing, the W is the W from our equation here. So 80 divided by 4.47. Okay, so that gives me my L value. But for the length of the page, I have to add 4 to that. And so my answer is 21.9 inches. Okay, and then to find the minimum area, I'm going to multiply 5.47 times 21.9, and I get my 119.78, which, notice that goes with, okay, so the reason that works directly from our point, 7.9 and 7.8 are close. But notice the reason that the answer, this point, is actually the same as what we used calculating. It just had to do with rounding. But it's because if you look at your area equation here, you wrote your area here in terms of, you use W as the width of the printed area. Okay, so it's still, that area answer took you directly to the area of the page. So hopefully that, that video made sense. If you have questions, I can answer them when I get back to class. All right.